Good morning. Is it Mare or is it Marie? Okay, let me see if I can pin this. Pin message. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I am happy to not be in motion this morning. I'm at my regular pace of life. I have had physical therapy appointments for a foot injury. Mare, Ohio. Good morning, Mare. Good morning. Glad to have you joining us today. Let me pull up. Da, 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 da. Well, good morning. It is that time, and I'm grateful for being here with you this morning. And check in. What are you feeling? Feeling words. We're trying to use our big girl words, our big boy words. How are you feeling this morning? What is this stirring up for you? And how are you processing it? If you've got some feelings going on, put those in the chat. This morning, I'm grateful. As the sun's getting ready to come up here in Ecuador, to not be in motion. I somehow got on the early morning schedule for physical therapy for a recent foot injury, and I realize it takes me in a different kind of motion pattern from my day. And I'm noticing that, so I'm grateful for being at home this morning and moving at a pace that feels very familiar for me. And this morning, what's on my mind is about the why. You know, healing is something where you're intentionally digging up stuff that you have intentionally packed away and locked into the attics of your life or your mind. They're the things that life sometimes doesn't have us prioritizing. Optimistic, that's a good one. And it's the why. And I guess I'll share a little bit about my why. Fannie Lou Hamer says, you know, change kind of happens when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I remember the time in my life, and it just seemed like you're on the hamster wheel. You know, life's good, life's bad. You're kind of in this repetitive circle, but I could see my life kind of doing this circle, and you're just right back where you started. There's time that's happened. There may be relationships in there that come and gone, but it's just you're right back where you started. Doesn't feel like I was making any progress in life. You're just doing life. And I thought this makes sense. Delightful. There's issues all around, but to just be doing life, like what's the point? And like that was my breaking point of like, I'm not gonna keep doing life like this. This is ridiculous. You're getting up for no reason. You're chasing the dollars, you're chasing, you know, whatever the pictures of success are. And I was like, I ain't doing this. This is crazy. This is foolishness to keep doing the same thing, to get right back here to the same spot that I feel like I started at. And I said, I'm looking at my life. I'm looking at the relationships, and I'm looking at the hurt, and I'm looking at lots of stuff. And yeah, there were other people involved, you know, and my trauma and those kind of things. But a lot of it was me. I'm hurt. I'm injured. And like just being honest about that with myself, I got issues. I got a whole lot of issues. And I understand the why, but I still got the issues and nothing's fixing them. Content, trusting, great emotions. And I said, something's got to give. I know me. You talk about living purpose and those kind of things. And I knew I was no shape to be living any kind of purpose. My purpose was to work on me. And that really became the turning point. It was out of desperation. Good morning, Jackie. It was out of desperation for a life that had some meaning and some significance. And it was that commitment. And I remember at the time I was living in New York City. And I remember a journal that I had, and I wrote in that journal, it was a prayer, because I was challenging, is there God? Is there, this religion thing just, it feels like a game and a circus, and just, what do you believe? When you grow up, you believe what you're told to believe. And I was in that point in life where I had to decide what I believed, because if I believed it, then I could stand behind it. Some of the stuff that I believed, I couldn't stand behind. It was just a habit. It was a habit believing these things. It wasn't real in my own life. And I remember writing in that journal, this prayer to whoever's out there in the universe listening to the quiet prayers. And I remember saying, I'm going to be committed to this journey as committed as I've been to the other stuff in my life. Business, where people say you're successful. The numbers say you're successful. Committed and knowing that I'm depleted on the inside. And I wrote in there, but if there's a God, you're going to have to give me courage, because I know who I am. Like, if I'm being honest with myself, I know who I am. I know the hot mess of who I am. Good morning, Francesca. I know the hot mess of who I am. This stuff, and you can't see it from the outside because, we costume very well. But I knew that there was hurt and there was real deep damage. And I said, whatever it's going to take something really strong to be able to help me fix these parts of me that I'm carrying around, but I know it's not true. And it was about needing courage. I'm going to need courage, because sometimes if I'm committed to this healing journey, and I am, there's going to be some times where I don't want to face it, honestly. I don't want to necessarily fix it. I want the results of fixing it, but I may not want to do the work of fixing it. I may not want to do that work of looking at myself honestly in the mirror and then just seeing what it looks like. Are there parts of me that don't look loving or true? Good morning, mentally magnificent. If you got feelings, put your words in there. How are you feeling this morning? So use our words. And I knew it was going to take courage to do those hard things. And so my prayer was, I'm already committed. I make that decision, but I'm going to need courage. I'm going to need some brick walls, because I'm going to want to resist. Know that it's just my damage talking. I'm committed. But I'm going to be committed like a child that has a temper tantrum sometimes, and that's real. We got to fix this. I don't want to be honest with myself today. Ooh, that's my stuff. I don't want to see it. I'm going to pretend like I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. The lies I tell myself, I don't see it. But as I have lived this lifestyle, it's a lifestyle. It's not perfection. It's just progress. It's progress. As long as I live in a traumatizing world, there's a potential for me to be traumatized, which means there's a potential for me to need to do healing work. And that's real every day. Tender, worry, need rest, tired might be a word. And as I've gone through this journey, and we kind of started day one with this, I realized that this is about freedom. This is a part of my freedom plan. And what does that really mean? It's that time that says, I get to choose who I am. Your behavior is your behavior. Karma, consequences, whatever, it's yours to own for your behavior. But no matter what's your behavior, am I free to act in a way that aligns with my values? I choose to be loving. I choose to be respectful. I choose to be compassionate, caring. I choose to be honest. Can I do that? Can I be that? Even when you have your unhealed part shown in my presence. When you come at me sideways, or the way I feel it sideways, Does your behavior impact who I choose to be? If your behavior triggers me and I then act in a way that's out of character, you in control of me, not me. And as I heal, I realize that less and less of the things that other people do have an impact of triggering me and moving me to a place where I live outside of who I choose to be. And that for me is like the epitome of freedom. It's to say, I can act in ways that are loving towards you regardless of how you behave with me. It's also saying, and me setting boundaries is sometimes the most loving thing I can do for you. Because the reality is, if I don't set those boundaries and I know it's important to me, I know my areas of triggering, I know my areas that have not been healed enough, then when you cross that line, I may not be able to act in loving ways. And that's what boundaries are for me. If someone's acting in a way that does not align with my values, I don't want to change them. That's too hard trying to change other people who don't want to change, who may not want to change. But if I set boundaries, it is the loving thing. It says, let me tell you how close you can get to me and be safe. Safe that I can continue to be the loving person that I choose to be. If you cross this gate that I've established, I'm telling you up front, I may not have enough healing to be able to be loving to you. So sometimes the most loving thing I can do is setting boundaries, setting distance, especially from people who may not be in this healing lifestyle, who there's not an accountability relationship that I can say, ooh, that really conflicts. Let's talk. And maybe the value that's being expressed is something that's coming from somewhere else. But sometimes that boundary setting is all about love. It's saying, what's the most loving thing I can do in this situation, given these circumstances? And sometimes it says, go be somewhere else, not be in each other's presence. And so the freedom to love is also the freedom to set those boundaries to say, I can still continue to love you if you go be over there and I come stay over here, because our values don't align. I don't have to get in the judgment mode about determining whether or not you should have those values or to judge you about your ability to live the values that I think are important. I don't have to do any of that. I don't have to control your behavior because that may traumatize me, trying to control other folks. Should you control other people's behavior? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do I want people to control my behavior? Absolutely not. I want to have full autonomy to live my life as I want to. My hope is that because I'm healing, my life gets more and more loving. And so part of that has been my why. The why for me is, how do I live my most authentic life and not have that be poison to the rest of the world? Because we hear people say, I'm just being myself. That's good. But did you look in the mirror? Because there's parts of you that you're just choosing not to address that are poison. So it comes with this caveat, that comes with this commitment to living a healed existence from a place of your whys. Why? And what does that mean? Do we want everybody just living their damaged self? Because the true self is the stuff that's underneath. Live your true self. Be true to yourself, but understand that this damage that we pick up in this traumatizing world is not the truth. It's not the truth. It's the costumes we put on, and survival is real. Understand why? We put those defenses up. But when those survival means are no longer necessary in the moment, they become the poison, and we live from these existences that just aren't true, and it takes so much energy. And so for me, this work, my own personal work, is about letting go of these boulders, unpacking the baggage. Prophet Erica Badu told y'all, you're dragging these bags around, and one day they're gonna get in your way. You're trying to make moves in love, and this baggage is holding you down because you can't live it. And so this is about freeing us to live into who we really are. Take it all off. Take the masks off. Who are you really? And if what you see when you say, this is who I am really, doesn't reflect love, no, those are the areas you need to work on. That's it. No judgment. When I take it all off and I'm being who I really am, and I go through this, what did I do? This is step 4. What did I do? Ooh, that ain't loving. Ooh, that ain't kind. That ain't none of these things you said you are. If you see that, then the commitment comes in to say, are you committed to addressing those areas? Because that ain't truth. That's your damage talking. And so part of this process gives us the opportunity to be able to see who we really are. But as you can imagine, this requires honesty because I lie to myself. I can only get as healed as I'm willing to be honest. Who am I when I take it all off? Not what you portray, not the, I think it was my grandmother used to say, your PR character shows up for you. Whoever that person is that's out in public that shows up for you, dressed up, got the costumes on, whatever the role is, whatever the title is I'm playing today. Independent woman, strong woman, fearless woman. And then it's saying, who are you really, though? Whatever you need to do out there, life is life, and survival is real. But this is about work that we do in private. This is I'm only got to be honest with myself. Through this process, we gain the capacity to be honest with others, but it starts with you. Can you be honest with yourself? There's that quote, to thine own self be true. And we miss the rest of it that says, this is the Lorana paraphrase, and if you are being true to yourself, then you cannot be a lie to others. We forget that part. The first goal, be true to myself. Who am I for real? For real, for real. I can pretend like I'm not hurt. I can pretend like I'm not traumatized out there. But when we get real with it, is to say, when I start being honest with myself, it makes it hard to be dishonest with you. Makes it hard. And so this is a process about really challenging yourself. When I work with clients, the first week, especially when I was back in the States and dealing with people more face-to-face, a spread out period of time, see you once a week for a period of time, several months or what have you. I'd say the first assignment before we do anything is go through your week, and every single time you either are dishonest or you are wanting to be dishonest with yourself, with life, just notice it. No judgment, just observation. When you want to say something, but you temper it a little bit, put a little sugar on it, sugarcoat it a little bit. Just check and see how often in your life dishonesty creeps in a lot of different ways. When you're dishonest, is it the way you put your clothes so they can't see the fupa in the way that it shows when you're being honest, for real, for real? Is it when you take off the makeup and the concealer and the contour? Is it when you take off the hair and see what's really, really, really there? I noticed some gray yesterday. I said, I got the little bit right here. My mother didn't go gray for a very long time, and people thought she dyed her hair. She didn't. And I said, I'm probably going to be like that. Got a few sprinkles of it in there so people, realize it just is what it is. But I just noticed it. It didn't make an impact on me. It just was, curious. I noticed it because of the way my hair was, I guess, yesterday. But it's being honest with ourselves. And then it's the freedom to live that. The loving parts. Use behavior modification for your damaging parts, because we still got those addictions to those behaviors that feed and soothe our ego, our fear, and our guilt, and our insecurities. But I challenge you to look at your capacity for honesty, the places in your life where you feel you are being honest, and the places in your life where you see some deviation from honesty. It starts with getting up in the morning. Do I want to get up and go do what I'm getting ready to do? Yes or no? You still better get up and go to your job. If you don't have another plan, get up and go to work. I'm not encouraging you to be reckless, but I am challenging you to notice your truth. Do I want to get up and go and do the things I'm getting ready to do this morning? When you get off this call, are you getting ready to go do the things you really want to do? Have you taken time to think about what you really want? If you're being totally honest, I use that phrase a lot. If you were being totally honest, what would you get up and do today? Literally. Start there. I have a major dilemma. I have a standing appointment on my calendar on Fridays. It's for Frisbee Friday. My friends go and play Frisbee at the park. And I haven't been going because I'd be tempted with this foot injury to be playing too much, because I play too much sometimes. And I have a lady that's in town. She's recently moving or thinking about relocating here. She's an expat. And she messaged me earlier this week that she was going to meet me at the park. And I thought, she didn't ask me if I was going. She didn't ask me. And I might, but I might not. And so my dilemma today is if I get to 11 o'clock and I have not put on my outside clothes, I ain't going. And I'm going to message her and tell her I'm not going. Besides, my water delivery comes and they won't ever give me a time. And sometimes they come and make me have to rush back to try to get to them. I don't know if I want to rush. But like those are things, do I really want to? It depends. I may not want to put on my outside clothes. I've put on my outside clothes every day this week going to physical therapy. I may not want to. And it's being able to say, I'm just going to be honest. Because if I don't want to go, it don't matter whether she go or not. There's friends down there going. But don't make it dependent on me to be able to go because I might not want to. But even in the big things of life, how do you want your life to feel? What do you want the pace of your life to be? Can you be honest about that? And this just gets into some really thoughts about, how you live in your life. What do you want your life to look like? And doesn't mean change happens immediately, but it does mean you have a picture of what you really want. It means you're practicing being honest with yourself, regardless of your circumstances. Can you be honest with you? Do what you got to do, but be honest with yourself about what you're doing, because then you can effectively count the cost, especially when things don't line up with your values. So that's just, I don't know if that's motivation or inspiration. I don't really know. Maybe it's a challenge for you this morning, but that's what's on my heart today about just being honest, being able to be free enough to be who I am. And then when I reflect that in the mirror, am I looking more and more like love? As I'm healing, is what's happening, those parts of me that don't look like love, are they falling off? For me, that's been the experience. So if I'm being totally honest, make that your mantra today. Make it your mantra this week. When you start thinking thoughts, preface it for yourself. If I'm being totally honest, preface it when you're talking to someone else. And sometimes you just do it in your mind. That's growth. Start in your mind. If I'm being totally honest, what would I say to this person that just asked me a question? Just make note of it. No judgment. No judgment. All right. I want to go back and just kind of do a recap of the steps, see if we've got any questions before we kind of go into silent work time. The first part of the book is really good, but for those that may not have joined us, the work. And we talk about healing a lot. This is about doing the work of healing, not just talking about it. Starts in part 4 of the book. Part 4 of the book starts in chapter 16. And let me see my handy dandy tape. You want to see the book? You want to see the book? It's nice. It's shiny. Let's see. It's got a table of contents for this very reason, so that I don't be fumbling. Part 4, page 66. So you go to page 66. Page 66. And it gives you a little bit of breakdown. Chapter 16 really talks about how we define trauma. And maybe I'll just stop there for just one moment. Just give it 1 minute. And trauma. Simple. Anytime your values are conflicted. And remember, values are, I know, ooh, shiny. And I think I sent somebody a message. If you ordered the digital copy, you will not also get a print copy. 2 separate platforms. Print copy through Amazon, but if you are boycotting Amazon for reasons of your own, no judgment, then the digital version is available. You can go straight to the website and order that. If you want a print copy, Amazon is the only way to be able to get that. Work it out with your values. I have a take on it, and it is use the systems that are there for good. Amazon sells books so that I don't have to archive books. They do it so that I can sell it reasonably affordable without archiving it. We're using their system for good. So it's kind of like guerrilla warfare in a certain sense. In my mind, that's the story I tell myself. So, but if you want an immediate copy, you can get the digital copy. But trauma by definition in this model of social tech, anytime there's a confliction of your values, it doesn't first say, let's see if this value is sustainable. It doesn't do that. It says whatever your value is, if that is conflicted, that is ground zero of trauma. Let me give you some examples. I use this when we deal with things like racial reconciliation, conflict resolution. If I am a person who thinks that because the color of my skin, I am better than you, and I'm put in a situation where I have to pretend that you are equal to me, that conflicts with my values, and I suffer trauma. But that's not a good value to have. We're not there. Sometimes we got to heal the trauma before we can do the analysis of whether or not our values are right or wrong. This process helps you see, is that really your value? Absolutely. And they keep making me act like this person is equal to me. I'm forced to. I'm being traumatized every time I do that. If I feel I should be treated in this way, if I'm treated in this way, and this is how I believe I should be treated, and you don't treat me in that way, my expectations aren't met. You have to go, so PayHip is only the digital copy. Amazon has to be ordered specifically from Amazon. Can you change it? You still got to order from Amazon. Kimberly, if you order the Amazon book, send me your receipt from Amazon and I'll refund you the digital copy. Does that sound fair enough? I can't change it in that way because they're two separate systems. PayHip is only a digital download, and that goes straight through our website. Amazon is Amazon. You have to go straight there and buy that. So if you purchase the physical book and you mistakenly bought the digital, send me a note with your receipt and I'll refund your cost for the digital, because I have control of that. So message me offline if that gets too confusing. So ground zero of trauma is anything. If you have an expectation and you think I should be doing something and I don't do it, trauma happens because your expectations were set. So it doesn't qualify whether your value is sustainable or not. Doesn't qualify that. It says anytime your values, your beliefs, your expectations are conflicted, there is trauma. Deal with the trauma first, then we'll do the analysis on whether or not we need to let that value go. Sometimes the value that you're holding is part of your trauma. I think you should be doing this thing. You can think it, that's fine. But if you didn't check with me, you don't control my schedule and my time and how I move, you're going to be traumatized as long as you hold that value that says that I should be doing these things that you have made up in your mind for me to do. As long as you keep holding that set of expectations, you will create trauma in your life when those expectations are not met. So it doesn't qualify whether the values are right or wrong. It just simply says if they differ from the values and expectations you held, you will suffer trauma, period. Let's deal with the trauma first, because that helps you have the clear mind to then evaluate whether that value is one you want to hold on to or not. And sometimes we hold on to values for a little while. I ain't ready to let this value go. I got expectations that you should do something. Oh, so you feel you should be able to control other people's behavior. Yeah, I do. I want you to act a certain way. And I feel like I should be the one to dictate how you act. I want you to heal a certain way. I should be the one to dictate the stuff you need to be working on healing. You should be working on this. And usually my response is, honey, if you knew the list that God had already put on the top of things I need to work on, you'd probably leave me alone and let me work on these things. Because if I don't work on these things, I'm going to be even more of a hot mess than whatever it is you're seeing. It may still be something I need to work on, but that's way down the list on the stuff that I really need to be working on right now. You know, who gets to decide what I heal on right now? Me. Thank you for the information, but I think you should probably let me and God and the universe work out the stuff I need to be healing from right now, so that I can be a functional part of society. So looking at your values and your expectations is about seeing where we align in life. And then one more thing before we go into silent mode, emotions. A lot of stuff about emotions, a lot of values about emotions. What are your values about emotion? Is crying a good thing? Is crying a bad thing? Good morning, Wida. Stop re-traumatizing ourselves. Are emotions bad or good? That's a value system. For me, emotions just are. There's no good or bad. We're human. We have the opportunity to experience them all. Doesn't give me license to behave in ways that conflict with other values, but what's your value? Is crying a sign of weakness? If so, every time you cry, you're creating trauma in your life, literally. What are your values about those things? And emotions. Here's how I explain it. Now, you got to be a sports, know a little bit about sports, football, but this is going to apply to soccer or anything like that. There's a set of rules. Set of rules for how this game is played. If you're playing this game, football, soccer, pick a sport that you know a little bit about, kickball, if the referee thinks that there has been a violation of the rules, we've agreed these are the rules on how we're going to play together. If that referee, that person who's looking for violations of the rules, thinks that you have violated one of the rules of the game, your values, they throw a flag on the play. They say, before we go any further with this game, we got to see if there was a violation of the rules that we came into agreement and said we were going to follow. In life, the rules of the game are your values. The flag on the play are your emotions. Not good or bad, but they're information. When something doesn't seem to be in alignment with your values, your emotions, if they are working, are supposed to trigger you. Flag on the play. Flag on the play. Ooh, I'm feeling irritated. Why? Irritation. Flag on the play. Stop. Stop the game of life. Something might not be in alignment with your values. Stop and check it out. Doesn't mean it is. Doesn't mean it's out of alignment, but it means it might be. And when we begin to use our emotions in ways that are healthy, and we can stop and not just be reactive. That's why I say trauma is the addiction. Because if we're not in control, we just react. We reach for our behavioral drugs of choice, the things that soothe our fears and our insecurities and our guilt trips. If we are able to use them, and that's what this process is helping you do, what did you feel? Because that is the flag on your play to tell you something might be out of alignment with your values. That's one of the appropriate ways for using our emotions. That's why you got to be honest. What are you actually feeling? Because if you allow yourself, it will teach you to be mindful when that happens. When I feel some kind of way, something's out of alignment. Something is not aligning with my values. Something about this interaction, this situation doesn't feel, my inner Sha-na-na is saying something ain't right. This process is training you like in real time. Step one says, what just happened? Something just happened to make me feel this way. And I need to understand what that something is so I have a correlation. And then it says, something happened. I feel this kind of way because something happened. What are the values? What are the values at play? Something just threw a flag on the play of my life that says there might be something that's out of alignment with the rules for how I live my life. Am I willing to stop and see what that is? Because if I am, I can find right now the thing that's getting ready to cause me more trauma. I can stop it right now. How am I going to respond? Am I going to respond in a way that's going to violate my values, which means I'm going to create more trauma? You traumatizing me. Now I'm going to create more trauma to this situation because I'm supposed to do something that traumatizes me. I'm supposed to tell you off. Does that align with your values? I can say anything I want to. Does that align with all of your values? I want to be the kind of person that speaks in love. Ooh, one of them values is conflicted. I don't care. If you conflict any of your values, you are now creating trauma. You mean my behavior gonna make trauma for me? Absolutely. And which one of those people can you control? You put boundaries up to stop other people from traumatizing you, but you control your behavior so that you stop traumatizing you. You start aligning your behavior with your values because that's what stops you from traumatizing you. Step 4 is all about, let's be honest. If we put all the cards on the table about this situation so that I can properly analyze it, I got to be honest and say, some parts of this trauma, I got to own. It's me. But the hopefulness says, If it's me creating this part of the trauma, me, self, come on, self, come on, self, come on, come on. It's one thing to have somebody else traumatize you, but when you start traumatizing you, we can deal with that. Self, let's have a little talk, self. Are we gonna keep traumatizing ourselves? I'm gonna try not to. Are you committed to not to? Every time I lie to myself, I'm traumatizing me. Me. And so part of this is about gaining the freedom to be in control of my life, my emotions, but that I'm using everything I've got, because your emotions will tell you something quicker than words will, quicker than your logic will. You just know you feel some kind of way. Trust that. Trust it. Ask some questions. Why am I not feeling this way? Well, what questions should I ask, Lorana? I done put it in the book. Y'all got the book. Step 1. What questions should you be asking when you feel any kind of way, any kind of unpleasantries in your emotion? I want you to practice. Step 1. What just happened? And what am I feeling? Now, what are the values that are being conflicted in this situation? Am I doing something that's conflicting with my values? Are you doing something? If someone doesn't share your values, the answer for that is, what boundaries do I need to set so that I can stay in loving relationship with them? I can't interact with them. That's as we're going to part company. We're not going to have this conversation, because that way I can stay in loving relationship with you, so that I don't reach for my behavioral drugs of choice and traumatize you. Because when I traumatize you, guess what? I'm damaging me. So you done upset me. Now I'm supposed to damage me because you upset me? That's foolishness. But we do it. I'm going to match your energy. So they just gave you their damaged parts. You going to match it, which means you getting ready to traumatize yourself and them. You hurt me, so now I'm going to drink the poison. Literally, that's what you're doing. And so this is about getting honest. This is about being able to look in the mirror, but it's also about getting us to a place where we get to be free to be who we are. But we got to take these layers off, because who we are is up under there. It's up under there. So that's what I take it for what it is. Maybe it's motivation, maybe it's inspiration. I hope you don't feel it as judgment, because this is about being honest. And maybe you can identify in your own way. Have any of this crossed your life where you can identify from your own personal experience some of these things that I'm talking about? Challenge yourself. Think it. If I'm being totally honest, and follow that out in the situations, especially those that cause you some discomfort. Let's see, messages. Let's see, because I'd be single tasking some days. It is shiny. Let's see. Book stuff. If you got questions about that, message me. Creating my own trauma, because you want to act in a certain way. If you are acting out of alignment with truth, with your truth, who you say you are the source of your trauma in that moment. It's you. It's you. I began to realize when I look at the deep trauma in my life, I can add it up. Some of the situations might have been 30 minutes of my life. And 40 years later, I'm still jacked up because something happened for 30. But then I began to realize all the stuff that happened in the 40 years since then, it was me. It was me. The trauma incident is over. Some of them folk dead and gone that I felt wronged me. They gone. They ain't still traumatizing me. I am. That took me in a whole different direction. I'm not going to still keep paying for the damage that you caused 30, 40 years ago. Last week, yesterday, 5 minutes from now. I'm not going to keep paying for it. I have spent my life currency on that experience. It was expensive, but I ain't supposed to keep paying for it. And if I keep doing the behaviors, I'm poisoning myself. I'm taking joy out of my life. Like, that's real. I'm about getting a return on the investment. I done invested my life breath into living life. And some of the times, expensive, painful. Let that stuff go. I want to free up that life currency for joy. Y'all, I will go find some joy. I'll make it up if I have to. I will. I have shenanigans. I can't tell it all on social media. People say, "What you doing?" And it might get back to my kids. What you do? You having too much fun down there, mommy. Maybe you want to come be a nanny for your grandchild. No, I don't. No, I don't. I want to play and have fun and think up new shenanigans. I got flowers right now. I went and got yesterday because I got to go flower bomb somebody, and I got somebody picked out for flower bombing. Just joy in my own life. $1 worth of flowers will give me all kind of joy. I get about $5 worth of joy off them $1 worth of flowers. So I want my life freed up for that. Yeah, Marie Amir, Ohio says, creating my own trauma because I want people to act a certain way. If you think you can control other people, you're going to traumatize yourself. I'm just put that one out there. Hold on to your own values. But if your value is that you feel you should control other people, just check. If I'm being totally honest, does that value work if it's pointed towards me? You want me to plan out your life and how you spend your money and your resources and how fast you need to heal? I'd mess all y'all up. Do it now. Do it now. Heal now. We're going to go deep, 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 deep. Let's do it now. You done messed your whole life up. You may not have the emotional energy to unpack all this stuff at one time. Throw all your clothes out the closet in the middle of the floor and say, let's fix it. We're going to take one thing, one hanger out at a time and deal with it. One at a time. Or whatever pace is comfortable for you. Wita says, good morning. I'm working to stop re-traumatizing myself and releasing the attachment to the outcome. That's the self-love for me. Yep. I feel called to spend some time in Ecuador in June. Girl, come on. Check with me. I'm retired. Check with me. Make sure I'm going to be here when you want to come. Let us schedule some time to talk to you about this. Reach out. How do I schedule with you? Reach out. WhatsApp me or message me on Facebook or Instagram. Send me a message. WhatsApp. Trauma is the addiction. I will stand on that. I will philosophically debate you. I will theologically debate you. Trauma is the addiction. Everything else is the drugs of choice. Sometimes we choose substances, but the behavioral drugs of choice all are for the same thing. Cover up my ego stuff. I don't want to deal with it. Let's just cover it up. It's the makeup we put. It's the behaviors we do so that we don't have to deal with the fear and the guilt and the insecurities. Sometimes it's safety. But oftentimes we use it inappropriately when we are not in dangerous situations. We assume everybody going to attack us, so we keep this hard facade up. Ain't nobody attacking you. What are the facts? Ain't nobody did nothing but look at you in passing, and they wasn't really even looking at you, and you done got all in your feelings. Ooh, because you got that defense up, because you're expecting somebody to hurt you. That's just coping mechanisms, behavioral drugs of choice. We use them the same way. Controlling and aligning my behavior to stop my trauma. You're in charge of you, or so we say. If you are in charge of you, are you in charge of you when you're upset, when you're angry, when you're mad, when you're hurt? Can't control others. Yeah. Okay. Any questions? I'll stop talking now and talk too much this morning. Any questions? Any questions on the steps? Don't forget on Tuesday, if you guys have any of your healing cycles done to the 5B, if you want to do a little video clip, and we'll celebrate with you in 5B. Your dear self letters or what have you, try to keep it under like 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to try to make technology work with me. I'm going to practice between now and Tuesday, but we'd like to share and celebrate with you. Encourage you to find a healing support person. That Sankofa piece, the Sankofa circle piece is the reading and feedback piece, and that's important. It's important. I won't go into why, but it's important. So find you a healing support person. If you don't have one, link up with somebody that's coming in the mornings because they've said they committed to doing their healing this month together. So if you don't have a healing support person, find someone. It doesn't take you but 5 or 10 minutes for you to do your reading and to do that feedback identification loop. And there's just power in that piece of it. And there's some science about it, but do it, y'all. Do it. If you want the full effect of the process. And each one that you read, you have a checkoff box that you can say, I've done the reading with someone so that I've done all of the steps of this healing process. Evidence-based, I just put this one little plug in for science. This work has a long history of research. The evidence-based research that's been done on this particular modality and the effective rate in dealing with complicated PTSD. All of it's PTSD. All of what we're talking about is PTSD. I don't need the label. All of it's trauma, big and small. Anytime your values are conflicted, that's trauma. And the behaviors that result from that is the PTSD. It's a 100% trauma rate. in life. We got a 100% trauma rate, but this process helps you gain the tools not only to unpack the trauma, but as you begin to use this in real life so that you're not traumatizing yourself so much in real life. So use the tools. This is the time for you to really practice using them. Yeah. If there's no more questions, then thank you all for joining and letting you just give you what's on my heart. I hope it's giving you some encouragement. If not, y'all pray for me because I'm healing. And pray for me. Take it in love. Take it in the spirit that it was given. And if you have questions, feel free to come in each morning and ask those questions. If you're getting to a step and you're not sure if you're doing it correctly, please ask. And happy working. Thank you for coming and joining us and holding this space. It's not only a gift that you give to the others that are here, but it's the ability to receive as well. And so hopefully we are holding space for you as you are holding space for others. Have a great day. Happy Friday. I'm going to be liming at my house, maybe thinking about going to Frisbee Friday, and wishing blessings for you all. Applauding your courage and the work of doing the work of healing. All right, I'm going to be quiet now. My bad. I forgot to make an announcement. I'm the one. I'm supposed to be quiet time. It's like the library. You're supposed to be quiet. Um, After Saturday, tomorrow's morning session, I've put a calendar out where there'll just be an open chat session so we can do more engagement. It is on Google Meet because that way you can turn your camera on or off as you choose, but it'll allow us to have some direct engagement. There's no plan. It's just time that I'm opening up to be there and we can chit chat. And so that'll be immediately following tomorrow's block of time. It'll be on Google Meet. I sent a calendar invite out where you can just click and join. Join if you want to, if you want to be able to have just some real time camaraderie, talk about what you're doing. It's the group exhale time where you can talk about what you're learning or challenges or just whatever you want to talk about. So you're all invited to that. If you haven't signed up on the website for the challenge so that I have your email or you ask for calendar updates, just let me know and I'll send you that link. And I'll try to remember to put it in the window tomorrow morning when we gather. Thank you, Francesca. Thank you for joining us this morning and doing the work. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Have a great end of the week and entrance to the weekend. And after tomorrow's session, there'll be a group exhale time to just chat on video chat on Google Meet. We'll be here, of course, my time, 6 to 8 a.m. Ecuador time, which is equivalent right now to Central Daylight Savings Time at 6 o'clock in the morning. And then for those that want to have a chit chat, a Saturday morning chit chat, grab your tea or your coffee or your breakfast, and we'll chat for those that want to. Again, we honor the work of healing. And so thank you for joining us and spending this time together and letting us hold space for you to do the work of healing. And we will see you in the morning. Blessings to you all. Have a great day too, Sarah.